It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of June 22nd, 2001. We've only got two movies to look at today, so let's go ahead and get right to it. And we're going to start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is the one that started it all, before we even got to characters like Cypher and Hobbs and Shaw, you know, all these characters we've been introduced to, this crazy world that this series existed in. Let's go back to a simpler time, when this series was about illegal street racing, cool early 2000s action, and you get the idea here. Let's talk about the one and only, the one that started it all, The Fast and the Furious.
On the street, it don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning. It's not who you know.
My brother likes you. Usually he doesn't like anybody.
It's how fast you can go. Smoke 'em. Fast and the Furious, rated PG-13, at theaters Friday.
So this is where it all began. All those crazy over-the-top action sequences, talking about, family all the time. It all started with this one movie that was literally about illegal street racing. You have an LAPD officer, played by Paul Walker, who goes undercover in the street racing world to investigate a group of unknown hijackers, believed to be led by Dominic Toretto, played by Vin Diesel. Now, does that sound like any other movie that came out 10 years prior, kind of helped launch the career of Keanu Reeves as a serious action star? Also had Patrick Swayze in it. I'm, of course, talking about Point Break. I thought I had a joke there, but I couldn't think of another movie that they were both in. So, this is basically just a 2000s version of Point Break. But it's a fun 2000s version of Point Break. I mean, this is a movie that is heavily focused on the action sequences, the car chases, the sexy imagery. I mean, like I said, early 2000s action. I mean, this is just, it's right up there with some cheesy fun movies, kind of like with Lara Croft Tomb Raider, what we talked about on the last episode. It's better than that, but it's not a great movie. It's definitely a film that is heavily flawed in a number of areas, from the story department to the characters to some of the storylines in general. Just like the writing overall is not great, but when it shows off the action, man, the action for this is pretty impressive for the time. And Vin Diesel and Paul Walker definitely do show that they do have a good chemistry together. It does work when it needs to work, but like I said, it's pretty much just a ripoff of Point Break, and it's hard to believe that the series that we know this series to be at today began with such a simple concept like this. Just think about that. Think about where we've gone in the 20-plus years since the original Fast and Furious movie has come out. And, just what a world, man. What a world. But, yeah. Really, there's not much more I can say about this one. The Fast and the Furious, it does a pretty good job of handling what it's supposed to give the people at the time. A movie about illegal street racing, a 2000s version of Point Break. Some good characters overall. Paul Walker, Vin Diesel. Michelle Rodriguez and Jordana Brewster probably aren't written as well as they later be in the series in the films to come. Even then, it's not really all that much, but certainly they are a lot better than what they are in this movie. And yeah, not much more to say about this one, honestly. Like Fast and the Furious, the first one, it's the one that started it all, and it's the one that kind of set the tone for what was to come. And even then, the tone will be set way more down the road as the films get more ridiculous and more stupider, and even where they're at right now, less fun. But yeah. So that is the Fast and the Furious, the original. So let's go ahead and wrap this up and take a look at the second big new release that came out this weekend, and that is Eddie Murphy returning as Dr. John Dolittle in Dr. Dolittle 2.
Yeah, who's there?
Hey, it's me. I forgot my key. Open up.
Well, then I guess you'll have to beg, huh? Come on, beg.
I know you better open up the door before I just open the door, Lucky.
He was born with an incredible gift
Anytime, ladies, anytime. Thank you.
to understand animals.
You just don't come up here on my balcony. Make an appointment.
Bring me a bone.
And a large order of flies. Supersized.
But not everyone
Sharice, open this door.
Try yourself.
I'm not calling on the cell phone while she's in her bedroom.
understands him.
It's embarrassing, Sharice.
Dad, you are the last person who should be talking about anything being embarrassing.
Well, what's that supposed to mean?
Now, Shall we put our cards on the table?
By Friday, there won't be a tree standing.
With a forest under attack.
We can't fight humans on our own. Sure, I got rabies, I can bite somebody, but I can only do so much.
What are you guys, some kind of mafia or something?
I'm just a simple fisherman who's blessed with many friends.
A family out of control.
And I hate this place.
So young, so angry. Damn that rap music.
And the animal kingdom.
You guys have enormous untapped power.
None of them have any milk.
Strike! 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 Strike!
Getting wilder.
Hello, Clarice.
Animals can't organize.
We can do it!
We have 2 bogeys. All units commence bombing.
20th Century Fox presents
You're an endangered species.
Hey, is that a threat, buddy?
Eddie Murphy.
How about putting a little sugar on Dr. D's lips, huh? Smooth.
In a comedy.
Hey, pop! Oh! Funnel cake! Concrete broke my fall!
About answering the call of the wild.
Wait, 1 second. You gotta do that. Sit down on the toilet.
Dr. Dolittle 2.
Oh my.
Woo! You sure you just had ice cream?
Of course, this is the sequel to the 1998 movie. It's definitely more kid-friendly than the other movie is. You basically have Eddie Murphy once again as Dr. Dolittle as he tries to help the animals protect their forest from unscrupulous human developers. One of them played by Jeffrey Jones, the other played by Kevin Pollak. He decides to populate the forest with a species of animals that the law protects, and that is a bear. And it would enlist the help of another bear, of a female bear, voiced by Lisa Kudrow, who is a lone Pacific Western bear living in the condemned forest. And to provide her with a mate, Dolittle turns to Archie, played by Steve Zahn, who is a wisecracking circus performing bear. In addition to everybody from the first movie, Kristen Wilson, Raven Simone, Kyla Pratt, you also have a massive voice cast in this again. Norm Macdonald's back, Steve Zahn, Lisa Kudrow, Mike Epps, Michael Rappaport, Isaac Hayes, Andy Dick, John Witherspoon, Cedric the Entertainer, Jamie Kennedy, David Cross, Bob Odenkirk, House Sparks. Even Kevin Pollak himself has a role in this as an alligator. Joey Lauren Adams, Mandy Moore, Frankie Muniz, Michael McKean, and David Lander. Of course, Lenny and Squiggy. Arnold Schwarzenegger has a cameo in this as well. Everybody's back except for Chris Rock. I mean, what happened to the guinea pig? They never really explain what happened to him. He's just gone. He just really has gone forever, I guess. Or at least that's what I remember. But from what I remember from this particular movie, it's just it was fine for what it was. This was one of those. I remember going to see this one in theaters when it came out. I didn't see the first one in theaters, but I still think the first one still is the strongest movie of these movies, if you want to include the Dolittle with Robert Downey Jr. And then, of course, there's the sequels that came out with Kyla Pratt taking over the leading role. And in that one, for some reason, she basically gains the same powers that her dad does, which makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, it gets a little bit too silly for its own good. And in this one, it's kind of that. It gets a little too silly for its own good. It's focusing more on the gross-out jokes, which apparently gets you a PG rating instead of a PG-13, which I don't understand why they had to drop the rating down for this. Which, I mean, the first one was PG-13 and was a big success because it appealed to everybody, not just kids, but also adults as well. And then this one's just kind of we're just going specifically for the kids. I mean, screw the adults in this situation. We're going to make this uncomfortable for you. And, that scene in the trailer, the scene at the end of the trailer kind of sets the tone for what's to come here with this movie. And it's just it's not bad per se. It's not grown worthy is what I want to say here, but it's definitely noticeable. It's definitely more of a focus of that, too much toilet humor going on here. Eddie Murphy, I think, doesn't really give a whole lot into this. If you felt like with this particular movie, he was just cashing a paycheck, at least with The Nutty Professor 2, which was definitely a step down from the first movie. You could definitely tell that his heart was in that film. This one just feels like he's just cashing a paycheck because the first movie was a success, and clearly this is going to do just that as well. So yeah, not a bad movie per se, but definitely a movie that is bottom line, it's just a typical comedy sequel. It's just a movie that's definitely a step down from the previous film. Doesn't have that same jolt or energy as the first film does, and it really does hurt in the long run. So That's all I gotta say about that one. That's Dr. Dolittle 2. And so with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and when we meet next time, we'll take a look at 4 movies, including Steven Spielberg's highly anticipated AI, Artificial Intelligence, which had the help of Stanley Kubrick before he died. We also have John Singleton's Baby Boy, Kirsten Dunst and Jay Hernandez and Crazy Beautiful, and Pootie Tang, because Chris Rock would return for Dr. Dolittle 2 because he was working on this movie. But we'll take a look at all 4 of those movies as we move on to our next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So, with that said, I'm off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.